What's going on, everybody? Mortem here, this time bringing you some highlights from the opening night of Gamescom, which happened just yesterday, and while this does in fact have a bunch of games in it and kind of sets the tone for the rest of the show, the event itself takes place over several days, and there will be more follow-up announcements later on that I will cover individually if I feel the need to do so, but in this case I just kind of wanted to do this big roundup. However, a couple of other things. One, I had the chance to play several of these ahead of time, and I'll note them as we go, and you're going to see me deep dive on those here in a bit. One of them, at least, will be going up today. There's probably two of them going up tomorrow, etc. What's more, however, is that I'm certainly not covering every single thing that was in that announcement. I'm mostly just going to talk about the stuff that caught my eye in particular, and so if you want to throw what you noticed down below in the comments, certainly feel free to do so. Otherwise, let's get to talking about this roundup. We're going to kick it off with Nodusfall. So this is a game from the developers of Genshin Impact, I believe, which I just wanted to point out primarily because this game is like a combination of Monster Hunter and Elden Ring, and to take that even a step farther, I think it's trying to be something like Night Rain in particular. And while I have no plans to play this one personally, I did think it was at least an interesting concept given how well Night Rain seemed to have done, but success like that isn't always easy to capitalize on, especially if you are not the person who did it to begin with, so we'll see what happens. I just wanted to throw it in there at the beginning. Next up, we've got Rainbow Six Tactics. This is actually a TRPG set in the Rainbow Six universe, which is not something I was expecting, to be honest, but I'm certainly up for it. It is supposed to be releasing sometime in 2027, and I'll almost certainly review it. I enjoy a good TRPG. I did want to point out, though, that games like this in particular, if they want to stand out, they got to do something unique, and there are a lot of tactics games out there, and I'm not seeing this game's unique thing just yet. And that's going to be the thing I keep an eye on when it eventually releases. We then got the Gears of War E-Day story trailer. I believe the release date for this was already known, but it is releasing on October 6th, and the trailer was just the setup of the story about E-Day, which is a prequel, like when the Locusts and stuff started first coming up, I believe. I admit I'm not a big Gears of War guy, but I did enjoy the trailer, so there's that. Now, I was initially interested in this next title, but it has the worst release date possible and is also a spin-off, so zero chance I play this, and that is Silent Hill Townfall. I've been enjoying survival horror. I had a good enough time with Silent Hill F, but this looks to just be another spin-off title where, again, you have your character, they're in a town, all the fog rolls in, you gotta try to survive all the crazy psychological monsters, and that's all well and good, but this game is releasing on September 24th, which is also the same day Control Resonant is releasing, and I want to check that out way more, and I've already got a full plate, so again, this is a no from me just from a time perspective. The next update we got was actually really exciting, though. The announcement of Crimson Desert 2.0. Now, 2.0 is out right now. You can play it and download it, etc. It actually updated the Steam entry for the game to be Crimson Desert Enhanced. And the main thing the Enhanced update specifically does is add new cutscenes and story moments throughout the game, adds extra voiceover support, and then, of course, all of their previous updates up to this point. So a substantial update that is kind of their way of rolling in those story updates that they promised a while back. I'm still waiting on the DLC for this one personally, but very cool update. Not enough to make a whole video about, but I enjoyed it nonetheless. However, I'll tell you what I don't enjoy is Tides of Annihilation, actually. So every time I see this game, it just hits an Uncanny Valley vibe that I cannot get around. And combine that with some recent news, one of the big voice actresses dropped out and had to be replaced, and everything about Tides of Annihilation just sets my alarm bells ringing, and I don't really see myself playing this one. Like, we'll see what happens, but I don't know. Everything about this game just screams something's wrong here, and I guess we'll see how it pans out, like I said. No real information on release date or anything. I imagine them having to replace that actress was a problem development-wise. Next up, though, we've got Dust Origins. Dust Origins is really cool in the sense that it is from Airship Syndicate, a studio whose work I have enjoyed previously. I was actually happy to see this because their last game, I believe, was Wayfinder, which certainly struggled, and yet somehow they managed to make it still a pretty good game in the end. Certainly not what people signed up for when they got into it, but they managed to take a bad situation with Wayfinder and turn out what is, I think, the best possible case scenario in that instance. And I was worried it might spell the doom of their studio, to be honest. So to see them back with a game is great. But Dust Origins in particular is very similar to another game called The Ascent, an isometric action game where we're sort of plowing our way through a bunch of enemies. This one takes place in a prison, however, and I'm eager to learn more, but no word on when that will be. So we will be waiting a bit, I imagine. Next up, we've got Exodus. It has an official release date of April 7th. This is that Mass Effect-like game that I have not personally talked much about, but has still looked pretty cool from what I have seen personally, and given that April is usually a pretty quiet month, this is almost certainly something I'll be reviewing then. The trailer itself focuses on the weird octopus guys and some of the combat situations you'll find yourself in, and I imagine we'll know more before long. Next up, we've got a bit of an odd one, the gameplay trailer for Warlock, the upcoming action-adventure set in D&D where you play as a Warlock. Now, to be clear with you guys, I got to preview this one ahead of time. I did not play it. This was a hands-off demo. The timing didn't quite work out the way I wanted to, but I will have a video up tomorrow where I deep dive this and also include the feedback from the questions and things I was able to ask some of the developers as well from that presentation. So I will have more on Warlock here soon, and we'll save it for then. In the meantime, just know that it's supposed to be releasing in 2027. A title I would like to know more about is Metro 2039. It dropped a new trailer with a release date of February 2027, showcasing the new protagonist, the Stranger. Now, Metro is one of those series I've always been wanting to get into, but I've just yet to find the time. There's several of them, and I know they're not very long, but I'm always doing a million other things. Maybe this will be the thing that finally pushes me into it. Trailer looked good, at any rate. Then we had Turok Origins. Turok Origins is due out in spring of 2027, and this is a reboot of sorts for the Turok series, which I gotta be honest, I don't remember a ton of, but what little I do remember of it is playing it when I would sleep over at a friend's house when I was like, I want to say like 9 or 10 maybe. It's been a very long time. So just kind of curious to see that franchise back and kicking. The trailer looked pretty cool. If nothing else, I'll take a brief look at it when it releases. A big update after that, however, was the Path of Exile 2 1.0 announcement. So this will be out on December 11th, 2026. Path of Exile 2 is an ARPG that is, of course, well loved. I doubt I need to explain it too much to people, but I did want to point out that the December 11th release, it's actually going to be free. So you kind of had to pay to get into the early access thing they were doing via Founders Pack, but they are using their free-to-play model from the first game when it releases. So on December 11th, you can just play it for free. Now, thanks to the way they do seasons and stuff, I do not like to keep up with Path of Exile. It's just a little too much for me, especially with everything else I've got going on. But I imagine I'll make a video about the 1.0, if nothing else, just talking a little bit about it. But that game has its dedicated channels and creators, and they would be much more up to date with it than I would be. A very exciting next entry, however, we have the Heroes of Might and Magic 3 remake. Now, you're going to see more of this from me today, actually, in a handful of hours. I don't know exactly what the timing on it is, but I got the chance to play the Heroes of Might and Magic 3 remake via a 2-hour demo a while back, and I will save everything else I have to say about it for that video that you'll see here in a handful of hours. Do keep in mind, though, I do actually have one other video coming up between this one and Heroes of Might and Magic, so don't freak out when that one releases, but later today that will happen. We finally got some more information on No Law. No Law is a very Cyberpunk 2077 type game coming from the developers who actually made The Ascent, which is kind of funny because we got Dust Origins, which looks like it, but is not. However, No Law is a game I've been very interested in since they first announced it. It looked really cool. This was a trailer focused on some actual gameplay and stuff. It has a release window of 2027. It's looking good. Not too much more to say right this second about it, however. Now, this next entry I was happy to see, but I was a little disappointed at the same time, and that is There Are No Ghosts at the Grand. This is an upcoming title that sees you renovating an old hotel. There's like story elements. It's got a musical element to it. I was kind of mixed on it until I played the demo, which I really enjoyed, and I've been looking forward to this one. We've been waiting on a release date for a while. It was supposed to be releasing in 2026. However, it looks like it's going to be releasing into early access in December, which, I mean, I'll still play it, but I was really hoping for a full release on this one, to be honest. It looked like a fun game to play over the winter break, but is what it is, I suppose. Now, our last two entries are certainly the big fish, as it happens, and the second to last one was the Final Fantasy VII Revelations title, the third entry in the Final Fantasy VII Remake trilogy, and this trailer gave us a look at the weapons, Ruby weapon, Emerald weapon, all that you will be fighting in that particular title. So, some new gameplay features. There's a part where you can see them parachuting down and moving around the environment, and that combined with some of the feedback they've already put out there about them not going as hard into like the minigames and stuff as Rebirth did, and I'm pretty happy to see it. This game should be releasing sometime in spring 2027. Guaranteed I will be playing that. And then perhaps the biggest news of all was The Witcher 3 Remastered and its Songs of the Past expansion. The Witcher 3 Remastered is going live on, I believe it is September 29th, which is a very busy time, but the remaster itself is interesting because it's very obvious they're doing it to get ready for the DLC they're about to drop for it, which I am also very excited for. But the remaster is looking to improve the graphics, improve the controls, improve the combat, enemy actions, and so it's not going to be like a complete overhaul. I don't really get the impression that the remastered one requires a full new playthrough or anything. It looks like they're just improving the base of it, so when they release this DLC, it doesn't feel, a little creaky, let's say. So we'll see. I could be wrong, but that's just the impression that I got from this. Now, the good news, the really good news, in fact, is that remastered version is going to be free if you already own the game. If you own the base game but not the DLCs, you're getting those for free. The remastered comes with the DLCs, of course. And given how well this game sold, that's a lot of free. They also, at the same time, dropped the trailer for Songs of the Past, the upcoming DLC I just mentioned, which is supposed to be out next year sometime. Very exciting. What I will probably do, as I mentioned, I'm pretty busy this month as it stands, and this is releasing on the 29th. I'll probably drop a video on the remastered version when it releases, and then when the DLC drops is when I'll probably get fully into it, because again, from what I've seen thus far, I don't get the impression a full playthrough is really warranted. At least on my end. Obviously, I'm sure everyone watching might feel differently. Really exciting news at any rate, but I do believe that is going to be just about it. I did actually also want to point out that, again, there will be other stuff coming out of Gamescom here. In fact, just to say it, I've got a video going that I know is part of Gamescom that wasn't in here. But with any luck, you enjoyed all of that. I know I'm certainly looking forward to quite a few of these, which is why I made the video about it, I suppose. But hopefully you're looking forward to that and those videos deep diving into a few of these on top of all of the rest of it. So if that happens to be the case, by all means, comment, subscribe, all that YouTube jazz. Let me know how you feel about these down in the comment section below. But regardless of any of that, truly, just thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. May you wander in wisdom and have an amazing day.